Hey, welcome to the channel. I'm Musically Malnourished, and you're on my journey to go deep and wide in discovering new music and artists. It's time to buckle up your seatbelts because we are in the deluxe version of Aurora's latest album from 2024 called What Happened to the Heart. The deluxe version has a few extra tracks, I think 3, as well as some remixes, so that should be fun. Another fun thing, I've had this for a few months. I picked it up at my local record store when I knew I was getting into Aurora because I think they had this and then they had Greeting All My Demons as Friends. So I grabbed both of them, not really knowing the order of everything. And so I'll finally be able to listen to that. So that should be fun. We're going to get in, listen to each song, make a few comments along the way, but I'll be keeping notes on my handy dandy notebook here. That way after each song, we can talk about things that stand out, any lyrics or things like that. We'll just let our curiosity lead us and have a good time together. This is as close as I can get you to radio, but radio, all things Aurora. And as always, music videos, live performances, interviews will be over on Patreon. We've built a pretty good library of Aurora content going through all the albums. And then we'll have more content from this and some interviews that you guys recommended over on Patreon. So feel free to check that out, see if it's something you'd be interested in. But let's go ahead and get started. Really looking forward to this album. I know you guys have made some comments about it just being maybe one of her more ambitious or interesting as far as the music goes. I think still musically, I really loved The Gods We Can Touch. I think lyrically really relate to Infections of a Different Kind and A Different Kind of Human. Really love those, especially if you kind of take them as one album project as versus like step 1 and step 2. But I'm really interested to see what Aurora does with this. Let's get in. This is track number 1, titled Echo of My Shadow.
If I stay here any longer, I'll stay here forever. And the echo of my world will fade. Will the edge of my sorrow be gone in the morning? I know. Stay right here, stay in the light, my dear, unto the love you crave falls in your arms. Ooh, I know your mind moves like a wave. Sometimes, if you can't rise for us, days
That might be the highest note I've heard her hit.
If my life is just a moment, and this world is ancient, then the light through my window will fade. Young mountains, old rivers, I let them become me right now. Stay right here, stay in the light, my dear, until the love you crave falls in your arms. Ooh, I know your mind moves like a If I stay here any longer, I will stay here forever. Till the echo of my shadow is gone. There are heroes within us. There are lovers around us. They will be here forever. I know.
Well, a very soft and thoughtful intro to the album. It's interesting because musically with the ooze, not like ooze, oh, that thing. It really reminds me of this song from 21 Pilots called Intentions, which is an incredibly meaningful song. If obviously 21 Pilots is very different from Aurora, but one of the most interesting bands I've ever encountered and listened to. Such meaningful music if you really dig into it. When I went through 21 Pilots on the channel, I was doing a very different format. So I was doing a video every single day. That's actually how I started Aurora when I did All My Demons Greeting Me as a Friend. And it was like one song every single day with an accompanying video going through the lyrics. That's how I did pretty much all of 21 Pilots library. And there's a ridiculous amount of videos. But their writing is very meaningful, very deep. And Intentions is like the wrap up of this lore and story they were telling for nearly a decade across multiple albums. They speak a lot about like mental health and this cycle that we go through, and the whole point is at the end of this cycle where you feel like you're making progress against things within yourself. But then you find yourself kind of like falling to them again, but having gained some ground. And the whole point is like, did you learn anything through it? Did you make any advancements? I know you've been fighting against this thing and maybe you're not where you want to be, but can you look and say, well, maybe at least I'm not where I used to be. And so anyways, let me play this for you for just a second. You'll hear the similarities. Here, we'll start here. When he gets down to the hoo.
Starting it all
Hits some high notes too, right?
again. Did I learn a thing?
Yeah, so you can hear the similarities. Something really cool about this track as well. Trees is another incredibly meaningful song in 21 Pilots' discography. And it's even a song that they close all of their concerts with. And the way that they did this with the beat, the melody, is actually Trees reversed. So their attention to detail and things is incredible. I'd encourage you. Again, it's a very different sound than Aurora. But at the same time, Aurora's got some rockin' music. Like very, very fun, danceable. And 21 Pilots, like, dude, their music's so fun. So that was just interesting. The ooze within this song are very similar and reminded me of that. It seemed like there were these it was interesting because it kind of seemed like these conflicting thoughts because there was this idea of like not staying where you are. So I was getting this feeling of maybe like feeling in sorrow, because she says the word sorrow, and this encouragement to like try and move past that into the light. But then they're like, don't stay there, right? That's where you feel stuck, and you're like trying to make some forward momentum, and the encouragement to do that. But then I heard kind of this idea of staying where you are in the light. So we'll look and see if there's anything going on there. And there was this really great kind of juxtaposition between the eternal and the temporal, or at least things that have been here longer than us. And that's a really cool thought, I think, to always have, you know, because it feels like the time that we live in, our life here on Earth, is so big, so long. And it does feel quite long for us. In retrospect, I know, as always, we'll look back and go like, man, it was so short. That's just how life is, right? But just the thought, I think, is good, and it's humbling. That's like, dude, the Earth has been around for a long time. History, as far as we know it, like written history, it's been around for a long time. And we're this kind of breath within that, you know, for however long the Earth is here. And it was kind of this idea it painted for a moment of recognizing there are these, the Earth itself, let alone obviously a human story, has been here for a long time, and we're kind of this small little piece of it. So let's hop over and see if Genius has any information here. So echo of my shadow is an enchanting melody, because even the idea of an echo of your shadow could be this idea of something going on past you, you know, longer than you, maybe the impact you make on the earth, kind of echoing past your life, I don't know, is an enchanting melody from the POV from both the comforter and the comforted. In the verses, we see the internal fear of one's negative emotions consuming themselves, no matter how fleeting they may be. The chorus combats this spiral with an acknowledgement of their feelings, a loving embrace, and a plea that the subject not give up on life. So if I stay here any longer, I will stay here forever. That's where I got the feeling of like, it's kind of the idea too, when somebody's injured and they're like, hey, don't go to sleep. Don't go to, like, you got to stay with me. Almost that idea. Or if somebody's injured and trying to maybe get off a mountain or get out of the woods and they just want to lay down, you know, and there's somebody there that's like, no. Like if you lay down, Wizard of Oz, you know, when they get into the field of, are they lilies? I can't remember. And they start falling asleep. You know, it's that idea that if they lay down there, they're going to stay there forever, even though everything inside of them is telling them, lay down, sleep, rest. You know, you're tired. It's like, if I do that though, I'm just going to be here forever. And it can feel like that in life sometimes, right? The ability to kind of keep the momentum moving forward when you don't feel like it is challenging. But in many times in life, it's very necessary. The echo of my world will fade. Will the edge of my sorrow be gone in the morning? I know. Stay right here. See, this is where I was saying is like, don't stay here. But then there's stay right here, stay in the light, my dear. Until the love you crave falls in your arms. I know your mind moves like a wave sometimes. If you can't rise for us, do it for love. So yeah, let me know if you have some insight there, because I'm having a little bit of trouble reconciling this feeling of like I shouldn't stay here any longer. And maybe the other voice that's saying stay. But I guess if you have a comforted and a comforter, maybe in the midst of this place, it's the idea there's somebody there to encourage and love you and help you. So that's the best I have for it, that if it is speaking from two different perspectives, then that's the way that it would be kind of conveyed. Okay, this is track number 2, titled To Be All Right. Okay. Wow. Wow. Would be Aurora an album without some like tribal. Wow. Man, I feel like that song really, I mean, not that the first one doesn't, but this is the first song that made me think back to the title of the album and this idea of what happened to the heart. We'll look at it in a second, but to me, this very much feels like a song about being in a place of depression. You know, I don't have a lot of personal experience with depression. I have personal experience with sorrow. I have personal experience with like very difficult times. I've been through plenty of very difficult things in my life. But I wouldn't say maybe like a lasting depression. And so, but I know, having talked to enough people, I know to an extent, obviously. It's hard to know fully unless you've been there. That idea of like wanting to move forward, wanting to feel, wanting to engage, and yet feeling like it's inescapable. There's this fog that kind of looms over you. And so that's what I feel like is really being conveyed here. From a musical standpoint and a composition standpoint, they did a great job kind of reserving and holding back to this buildup that also wasn't like crazy extreme. It still kind of held this this softness to it while being very exciting. Yeah, even from the opening lines, it seemed like I like this idea, like I want to be lifted up, I want to ascend, or maybe I even want to kind of escape what's going on here. And so tying into the idea of what happened to the heart, you can already tell these first two tracks really lean into maybe this idea of inner turmoil that's going on, and even the idea with her, this heart. I'm not sure, but generally, like even in the Bible, you kind of have this heart of stone versus heart of flesh. The heart of stone is hard. It is resistant. You even have the idea of love growing cold in the scriptures. Even this idea of like, and the heart of flesh is one that's like living and vibrant and receiving. There's even the idea of like the circumcision of the heart. I know it's kind of a interesting thought, but obviously when you're talking about circumcision, it's like this idea of an outer layer, and the circumcision of the heart is kind of the removal of that layer to where you can really get to the heart. So I don't know if the album art and the idea of it being kind of cast in silver versus being organic is that idea. And so I did really like the lyrics, and I'm curious when it talks about whatever you say isn't right. I don't know if it's a person that like is trying to receive help or advice and yet has already made up in their mind like what you say isn't right, and so I'm not really going to listen, even though maybe I appear I'm listening. Or if it is the idea that I think there are people and there are words and there are things that can help lift a person out of that place 100%. But there is also sometimes just this process, and a person has to find their way out. You can only give someone so much advice, but something ultimately kind of has to click in their heart and in their mind, and maybe even begin, because she said, I believe I love it. And to me, that kind of speaks to this believing before the results happen, if that makes sense. And I know in my own life, that's how I have to lead myself. And that's the way I encourage my kids, like maybe if I can tell in the morning, the heart's just not in it for the day and the tasks ahead. This happened recently with one of my sons, not to divulge too much of his life or information, but it's a common thing we all go through. Like he just wasn't looking forward to going and engaging in this activity. And he was just tired. And I just stopped him on the way out the door, and I reminded him, I was like, hey bud, I know like you'd rather just hang here tonight. And sometimes there's time for that, but I think you're ultimately going to be very happy. And he was, if you go, but I just want to remind you, like, remember, you kind of make it what it is. And so if you go into this event with a, like, I don't want to be here, I'm just tired, whatever type of heart and type of attitude, I think you're going to have a bad time. And it's going to prove true the way that you felt. But I think if you go in with this, like, okay, I don't really want to be here. I'm like, would rather be just doing nothing, but I am here. So therefore, like, like let me front it a little bit, fake it till you make it. Now you have to be careful. You can't live your whole life like that, right? If you really need help for something or you need rest or whatever, you got to do that. But I know there are plenty of times in life you don't want to show up to work. You don't want to go do this or go do that or engage in this. And yet, if it's something you have to do, there has to be this shift as you step into it, right? That's like, okay, I don't want to be here, but I am here. Therefore, I'm going to bring my whole heart. I'm going to try to engage. And many times, not always, when we lead ourselves in that way, like I believe it, even though you don't feel it, the feeling eventually can catch up to that belief. And I think that's important when we're trying to get through many difficult things in life. Okay, let's see what's said here. To be all right. Says it was a surprise drop, no promo to it. Aurora said, of all the major chord songs, it fits the album the most, if that makes sense. It's the wish to feel better, but using the wrong remedies. One of the last stages before the problem becomes all-consuming. Okay. I wonder what remedies she would say she's using. Yeah, see, I believe I love it. Nobody can make me feel something more. Let's see what this says. The bridge brings a shift in tone, with the singer affirming their feelings. This could signify a moment of self-acceptance or realization that true emotional fulfillment must come from within rather than from external sources. The repetition and insistence that nobody can make me feel something more highlights self-reliance and inner strength. So maybe the wrong means is like trying to find it in another person. Okay. Let's jump into, and as always, along this journey, if you want to, add any more context or anything, love having conversation with you guys in the comments. So that's always welcome. This is track number 3, titled Your Blood.
Is it made of? Do you feel it travel in and out your heart? Needles stitching up the big holes. You prepared for battle as you fell apart.
Flexing her vocals on this one.
Your voice drowning in the white noise. Do you hear the echo begging you to let go? This earth, whoever was it made for? Just wait until tomorrow. Might not be as cool.
what a breakdown.
You are dust. You are dust. You are dust. You are dust. Dark eyes. What matter is it made of? Do you feel it travel in and out your heart?
Definitely would not have minded at all if out of that breakdown we went back and I was ready to go back in, and then I looked and the song was over. Crazy. That song did not feel 4 minutes long at all. Had this very cool, like, chill, synthy, vintage pop feel to it. Very introspective, as the album has been and probably will be. The idea, it's very much tied, I feel, to the previous songs as well. This idea of, like, outrunning yourself, which it's hard to put into words, but I think it's just one of those lyrics that you feel. You know, what we all feel what it looks like to try to outrun ourselves, to try to get beyond whatever feeling we're in that's catching up to us. And this idea of, like, wanting to stop, wanting to sit still, wanting to compromise, and almost somebody coming alongside you, like, I can help you run again. So, like, let's do it. Let's get up. Let's run together. But yeah, that drum breakdown was really, really great. Okay, let's see if there are any notes on this song. And you did have very, like, Space Mountain with the drum breakdown. Not the movie Interstellar, but like this kind of spacey star sound. Okay. Let's see. The world is always bleeding. You never know what is going on under people's skin. I think it's only when we reach out to each other that we understand what compassion and beauty we are capable of as human beings. Even if we can't understand what people are going through, we should still try. Sure, I agree. That's what empathy is, right? It's like putting yourself in somebody else's mindset, situation, shoes. If we don't, what is a life truly worth? Sometimes addressing the pain, your own, or the pain of the world, hurts so much it feels like dying. Yeah, true. But in truth, I believe it is then we are born. Your blood, my blood, our blood. Yeah, because it's one of those things. Is this a music video for it? I'm trying to see what I had. Yes, I do have a music video and a live performance for this song that'll be over on Patreon. It is that idea. Like, it's easier many times to not engage in somebody else's pain, or our own for that matter, right? To try to just move on as if something doesn't exist. And so I think the first place, yes, is engaging in our own, but sometimes too, the ability to move beyond some of the things that we're feeling is through engaging in somebody else's pain. It is this idea of blessing others that you have to be careful, because not out of this place of insecurity, because then you kind of get this Messiah complex, right? That you're there to rescue everybody else. And I don't think that's a healthy way to operate. But I do think that many times the perspective we need is found in helping someone else. So whether that's going and, doing work in your community or going abroad, obviously Aurora is engaged in many different works and humanitarian work, or that's just like trying to enter your day. As we get so like focused, tunnel vision sometimes, especially when we're having a hard time or going through something difficult, and we just get tunnel vision. but the ability to kind of like, boom, open our vision up to others, even in the smallest of ways. Like the other morning I forget, we normally, like, for breakfast, I just cook a couple of eggs for each of the kids. But we were out of eggs and we had cereal, but I was like, we could do cereal, but do you guys want to just stop by? Like, we have a gas station that does breakfast and they have eggs and things like that. And so I was like, we'll just go by there. So when we went by there, it was early in the morning, and that's a very easy time for many of us to be like, boom, tunnel vision. And my kids are very polite, and I'm thankful for that. They're very thoughtful of other people. However, in this situation, it's early in the morning. They're kind of focused on, whatever within the thing they're going to get. Sorry. And the person behind the counter said, good morning. And I looked over at my kids, and not a single one of them said good morning or anything. And I said, hey, good morning. How are you? Whatever. And then let each of them kind of order, what they were going to get. And when we were done going out to the truck, I was like, hey guys, listen, I just need to address something real quick. I really don't ever again want to have to tell you to greet a person, especially somebody who has already greeted you. And it is just that thing that I think is like, I understand that it's easy to get so tunnel vision, but we got to open our eyes. And whether that's holding a door for somebody, simply saying, hey, good morning, hello, how are you? Like having that human connection in the moment, especially when we're busy or going through things, many times giving that to others, then I think a lot of times opens us up to receive as well. Okay. Let's jump into track number 4, titled The Conflict of the Mind. So yeah, we are definitely going introspective on this album. And I think you guys had told me about that. Not that her other albums don't deal with some of those things, but this seems to be a lot of, so far, just kind of the internal that's going on. All right, here we go. Conflict of the Mind. The organ synth.
It's a complicated story that we never talk about, but I see it in the mirrors, in the curtains of our house. I don't want you to be worried that we're running out of time. It doesn't matter where we're going, we can leave it all behind. Only when I see you cry, I feel conflicted in my mind. It fills my heart up and it breaks me at the very same time. When you open up the gates for me and leave the world behind, we find proof of love is hidden in the conflict of the mind.
That was cool.
Hard to find you, fingers tearing through the ground. Were you digging something up, or did you bury something down? In your soul I found a thirst, with only salt inside your cup. In your eyes
Wow.
I saw a longing, while I long to lift you up. Only when I see you cry, I feel conflicted in my mind. It fills my heart up and it breaks me at the very same time.
the panning is so good. You know, there are things, I started messing around with some music production with Logic Pro and this MIDI keyboard. And so I've just been learning more about some of the things, the dynamics that people introduce into songs to make them more interesting. There's so much going on here. This may seem like a very simple song. It's obviously very meaningful lyrically, but even from the music side, you can just tell they don't phone it in. There's a lot of care and a lot of detail in all of it. So even like in the closing with the like kind of pipey thing that was going on, I'd be very surprised. That definitely could be a synthetic sound, but even in the very last one with her giggle, it sounds like she was doing it, and you can record the voice and even basically, especially if you watch some Charlie Puth shorts, he does things like this, but you could record those who or whatever, and then map it into keys and kind of turn the voice into its own piano to an extent and add whatever effects and things. It almost sounds like maybe they did that, or they just had a simple effect on her voice for it. Another thing that Aurora does a lot is she'll do these interesting things that she only does one time in the song. I've pointed it out over the other albums in a few different songs. I'm like, oh, look at this one thing. Listen to this one thing. Whether it is her with an ad lib or like a background singing. But with this one, when they had that pipes part, only the first time that they went through that, and it was cool because they were like panning it between the ears and kind of all through and back and forth. But the last line of them was her voice, similar to what they did at the close here. But then when they did it the second time, they didn't do that. Which it's, you know, for me, when I hear her go back into that, I'm like, oh, good, I get to hear that again because I found it very interesting. And then she doesn't do it. And I'm like, dang it. But at the same time, all that says to me too is that there's a conscious decision being made that's saying, hey, when we go back into this, when we do this other time, let's do it different. And that's what I mean. Just, I think every piece of the song is very carefully crafted. That line, proof of love in the conflict of the mind, I'd be curious. I guess to me, kind of speaks to, it sounds like her care for what another person is going through, and maybe the conflict going on in their mind to be concerned about this person shows this proof of love. Same thing, somebody that you care for, or your children, like when they hurt, you hurt. I know my wife especially, you know, she the other day was like, I was just asking how she was. She's like, I'm good. You know, we just have a lot going on with sports, things like that. But also, you know, she thinks definitely even more than I do about kind of the internal that's going on with our kids, or maybe the heavy things on their schedule or whatever they're feeling. And to her, like, it's hard for her to forget about those things during the day. I'm very good at isolating or compartmentalizing things. I get involved in stuff and it's hard for me to think about things unless I put concerted effort toward it. But for her, it's just like that feeling of whatever they're feeling, she feels very deeply, and it stays with her throughout the day. And I think things like that, they are the proof of love. So I don't know if that's what she's trying to get at. It kind of feels that way to me, but let's see if there's a note on here about it. This is what it says here. The lyric insightfully suggests that genuine love is not always immediately apparent or easy to discern. Instead, it's often concealed within the intricate layers of personal struggles and emotional conflicts. The conflict of the mind acknowledges the challenges. Sorry, I lost my place. challenges and inner turmoil that can accompany deep emotional bonds. However, it's within these very struggles and through mutual understanding and shared vulnerability that the true essence and undeniable presence of love are revealed. Yeah, so I think it's similar. And that can go in a bunch of different ways. Like the love between a husband and wife is like the willingness to spend the time to reach a solution, on a conflict. Because if you didn't care, you'd just be like, whatever, But part of the proof of the love is to spend the time, to have the conversations, even the uncomfortable ones, because ultimately you want to reach an agreed upon outcome or a peaceful solution to whatever you're working through. Here's what Aurora said. This is a song for everything you never said. Everything we left unspoken, everything we still feel lingering in the air around us. I know many of you know how it feels to be in a family where everything painful remains quiet and hidden. There's nothing more painful than seeing the ones I love cry. But at the same time, it fills my heart up because it's the greatest feeling in the world to open up and be there for someone. If only we were brave enough. I loved that idea, like when you open up the gates, right? Let me in. It's truly when we open up, we find the purest proof of love hidden in the conflict of our minds. The conflict of the mind is now yours. And then I guess to her sister. That's sweet. Oh, good. We got a music video for it. Yes. Okay. I have that one on my list. I have like a spreadsheet for live performances and music videos. So that one's on there and will be up on Patreon. Good stuff. Okay. Track number 5, titled Some Type of Skin. Let's see if we get a change of pace here. Big sound.
Hit me hard where I am soft.
Her voice is so mature in this album.
Should my heart reveal itself to be more than a muscle?
Oh, wow.
Covered in blood. However much it feels to bleed, it's only temporary. We're good people, and we both deserve peace. My God is in love, and some type of skin I got to be. My God is in love, and some type of skin I got to be. Some type of skin. I guess I should build some type of skin
She sang that with such conviction.
and let breathe the air and love the things I know might disappear. And the last light of the sun, I let it slow me down. I'll crawl where everybody runs. We're good people, and we deserve
Whoa, man. Only thing wrong with that song is that it's too short. That line hit me hard. I saw it coming, obviously, on the lyric scrolling. I didn't know how she was going to sing it. But even the line itself is so strong, so powerful. Because whether you're talking about just interpersonal conflict, or I would imagine even in this case, Aurora probably has larger conflict going on, or in her mind, like conflict in the world. So yes, I think from the like our sphere of influence and beyond, you know, our home or ourselves, our homes, our cities, then our states, nations, and the world, those kind of expanding circles. It is sometimes, it just feels like it's a lot, you know? And what do you do with it? If you've ever seen Hotel Rwanda, gosh, that movie will wreck you. Why can't I think of his name? Joaquin Phoenix plays a journalist or a cameraman in that film. And when the Rwandan conflict broke out, he was there and went to the hotel because the hotel became this place of refuge. And they were watching, he was watching it with Don Cheadle's character who ran the hotel. They were watching on the screen, I think, American reports of what was going on in Rwanda. And from Don Cheadle's character's point of view, what he was saying was, they're going to send help. They're going to do something. Either the United Nations or another nation's going to step in and come stop this madness. And I think Joaquin Phoenix's character, having seen the things that he saw and knowing how maybe more so the world tends to work, it kind of laid on this line something to the effect of, unfortunately, man, it's a heavy line. People will look up from the dinner table and go, that's tragic, and go back to eating their meal. And I think there's two sides to that. So, and it's interesting because you have Don Cheadle's character over here who's just in the midst of this conflict, and it's everything. I mean, his world's falling apart. His friends are dying. And then you have Joaquin Phoenix, who's had to build some type of skin, maybe a little more cynical, you know, just because he's seen, he knows more in the sense of like the conflicts that happen and some apathy to it. And for him to say that, you know, is just like, that's the reality. And where Don Cheadle's character would hope that people would see that and feel this urgency to do something, and some will. And here's the challenge in that, right? Like, sometimes we are powerless. I don't want to say that in everything, because it is the people that stand up and go, no, we're not powerless. We can do something. We can make a difference. And I think 100% there are people who that's what they give their lives for, you know, and they rally like-minded people around them. I don't think every single person in the world can be deeply engaged in every single conflict that exists. It's not possible. But to care and ask, well, what can I do, you know, especially in your own sphere of influence, in your own community, it starts there. Even, I mean, that's how I approach with my children. I'm like, my children are one of the greatest investments I can make, because if I can raise them to be empathetic, hardworking people who are looking out for the needs, not just of themselves, but for others, like I am putting my own force into the world. I am doing a part that is one of the most important jobs on earth, being a father to raise children who can think that way and live that way. All of a sudden increases the force on this earth that is not going to hurt others, and instead of hurting others is going to invest in others. And so I don't think you can diminish that that role as a parent and how important that is. And you get such a short time to mold and build that, to instill something that you hope and pray they carry on, and it becomes part of them. But beyond that, you know, I think it's also, we have to be careful not to just be like, well, I mean, what am I can't do anything. that there are going to be those moments that something clicks and you go, no, I've got to do something. But that's what my mind went toward. And it sounded like even in the song, this like, I've got to build some type of skin is like probably a skin, not that becomes apathetic to all of those things, but that doesn't get shut down by the sorrows. And that's very easy. You know, I remember when I was younger, some story came on, you know, about this devastation in the community from a natural disaster. And I was messed up for a couple of days because I could not get my mind out of the place of those people and what they were going through, right? Again, that's the point of empathy, to put yourself in that place. And it was painful for a few days. And I was trying to figure out, man, what can I do? How can I help? How can I send aid? And so I think we have to allow events to hit us like that at times, but you do have to develop some type of skin that it doesn't just emotionally shut you down. And then you got to gauge, you know, how much can you really allow in, but to shut it all out, I think would be damaging to us as people, because then we just start living in a bubble, not caring about any of the sorrows of those around us. But that's what it seems like to me, is like building some type of skin, because when you really take in the pain of the world, my God, it's a lot, right? Like she said. All right, let's see this. The track is similar in nature to Your Blood, discusses the need for peace for all. The some type of skin that is discussed perhaps shows Aurora creating a new skin for all of her fans and indeed the world. A skin for the wounded who have ecdicized, shed an old skin. Aurora is a strong advocate for a ceasefire in Gaza, so perhaps this track is particularly directed at victims of the recent attacks and bombings. Yeah, I mean, whether it's that specifically or many of the things that go on every single day that we don't even know about, it is that idea, right? She said that we deserve peace. Like, people deserve peace on both sides. Okay, we got a video for that as well. Jeez, I feel like that's going to be emotional. Yeah. I mean, beautiful song. And she just, it's such a simple line, but it immediately captured me, because I'm like, yeah, I get it. You know, I've put myself in that place, and it's just like, it's a lot. Okay. Let's check out track number 6, titled The Essence. Love some ambient noise, breathing, has open air feel to it.
In another life, home feels like home. I mourned you now, longer than I've known you. As the trees cry their leaves, vulnerable, just like me. Maybe it will be alright. We all hurt sometimes, and maybe it will be alright. We are running through the waves of time, and truth can lie in the arms of a fight. And I try, but it hurts so much to be in touch. So I'd rather not.
You got birds in the background.
We make amends with the roads we cross, like rivers flow to be near your ground. maybe it will be alright. We all hurt sometimes, and maybe it will be alright. We are running through the waves of time. Truth can lie in the arms of a fight, and I try, but it hurts so much to be in touch with the essence of us. It hurts so much to be in touch with the essence of us, with the essence of us. It hurts so much to be in touch, so I'd rather not.
Soft ballad. Man, that line, I've mourned you longer than I've known you. At first, I thought it was speaking to maybe death. And that's an interesting thought, a really sad thought, you know, especially if you lose someone younger in life. The idea of having lived longer without them than you did with them, but they made such an impact on your life that you still carry that. I know there are many of you listening that can relate to that feeling, but it does seem to speak of not necessarily death, so more distance than death, because she talks about making amends. And so it could obviously be like a broken relationship. If she's speaking about people at all, you know, and in this, it could be speaking about multiple things. But the idea of making amends is maybe there was a fracture in a relationship and I've mourned the loss of our relationship longer than I've known you. I love the idea she talked about leaves. What did she say? Being vulnerable or fragile. Longer than I've known you. As the trees cry their leaves. Oh my gosh. I didn't even hear that line. I didn't hear the cry in there. That's a really beautiful thought, you know, leaves falling as a tree crying. Very beautiful writing. It's very mature writing in here. I mean, all of her writing's always been mature, but I don't know. There's something different about this album. And that just comes obviously with life experience as well. I mean, she was writing incredibly deep and meaningful and insightful stuff as a young girl. But to already take that kind of understanding of the world and then, you know, live more and more years and be involved in the things she's been involved in, it can't do anything more than breed greater wisdom and greater insight. Vulnerable. As the trees cry their leaves, vulnerable just like me. Listen, side note, but there's a really beautiful chapter. Dude, I feel like I was just looking at it today. I might have stuck it down here. Give me just a second. No. Oh, here it is. Okay. I have this very old version of Bambi. And, you know, my kids are a little bit older now. Yeah, this is a 1929 printing of Bambi. Beautiful book. But the story of Bambi is actually incredibly deep. It's very much a reflection on nature. If you've never read Bambi, I would encourage you to. I actually at one time was going to start a YouTube channel where I read books that were, what's it called? Royalty free essentially, but I think there's another word for it. Most books, obviously, you can't just do a recording of because that would be illegal. But books of a certain age kind of pass that and become open domain. That might be the word for it, or public domain. And so you can. And I was going to start a YouTube channel one time where I just read through some of my, well, even books that I hadn't read. But those public domain books, Secret Garden, I think Bambi might be on that list, Moby Dick, a lot of classics. But I think it's chapter 6 I don't think I have the table of contents in here. I think it was chapter 6 in Bambi that stood out to me so much. I read this to my kids, and the entire chapter is literally between two leaves, the last two leaves on a tree. And one of them is like, how do I look? I'm looking a little yellow. And it's just like self-consciousness of aging. Like, do I look okay? Am I still beautiful? Spoiler alert, the chapter cuts off in the middle of a sentence because it's the last leaf falling from the tree. And so it's like its life is over. Total side note, but it made me think about that. And it's honestly a really, really beautiful chapter and kind of falls in line with some of the things that are talked about here. And the truth in the arms of a fight, that's an interesting thought as well. I'm curious if the meaning there is like, kind of like I was mentioning earlier, the conflicts that are necessary. You cannot have a relationship without conflict. I grew up in a house where most of all the conflict was suppressed, and my parents ended up divorcing. And I just remember, I knew they had some times that they got heated, toward one another. But I think honestly, the problem was so much was suppressed that when they finally did have a conversation about something that mattered, it just blew up, versus like, at times having those conversations along the way versus letting everything build up inside till you're just so frustrated you can't help but explode on a person. And there's two sides of that. Like, you have to have the ability to recognize, like, there are some things you just have to overlook, right? It's called forbearance. It's like forgiving before the hurt happens. And just recognizing in a relationship, there's going to be all these little things. And sometimes you're going to have an off day and things are going to annoy you. And that's where you have to go, like, it's really not that big of a deal. I know I'm just being a little annoyed today because I'm on edge or whatever. And you just overlook it, right? Love covers a multitude of sins is the idea there. But then you also have to have the sensitivity to recognize when it's like, man, no, this thing's really bothering me. And I feel like we have to have a conversation about it. I feel like we have to get on the same page. And there's conflict there, but the conflict is for a purpose, right? It's not just to be heard. It's to try to reach an end that's beneficial. And that's kind of what it reminds me of, that truth is in that kind of conflict, but also kind of saying like, I don't necessarily want to engage in that, like it's hard and it's tiring. So it's interesting. There's not much here. Somebody wrote in French, I think. That doesn't look like French. Let's see. Maybe we can find a translation for this. I don't think it's Aurora's words, but we'll just see. Why not? I wonder if it can recognize what the text is. Can I bring you guys in on this? Let's do this. Okay, it's not Norwegian. Okay, The Essence has been previewed by some critics for its music, but appreciated by the album because of its simplicity and honesty. Aurora uses live images to communicate at the same time as the time it takes to live in such a way. Okay. Let's go to track number 7, titled Earthly Delights. More Turkish delights, please.
First, you made for me a river, so I would have water. Made for me a garden, so I would have but I'm so lonely, so when everything dies.
Oh, the layered vocals, harmonies. ticking clock.
Me, broken and unholy. Let my body wander far away from here. You make for me a portal, eyes warmed up with sorrow. You always envy mortals, 'cause we There is no God in here without me, my dear. When everything dies, will you be lonely? So
I definitely thought she was going a different direction with this. The idea of earthly delights and it kind of sounding a bit romantic at the beginning made me begin to think the song was swinging toward like the earthly delights, of connection, of love. But then I began to listen and hear, obviously, as the song kept going. And I think that the earthly in that literally speaking of the earth, we'll look in a moment. But I think even her idea of like envying mortals because we can leave and being lonely when we're gone, that maybe she's speaking about the earth and even bringing in the naturescapes, like the birds, is probably this idea of us caring for the earth. She also kind of calls back to the gods we can touch in the idea of embodying, obviously from maybe Aurora's standpoint, these traits we embody, right? Love, compassion, joy, whatever they are, in working those out. My perspective more is that we learn those things, we draw those things in from God. And in the same sense, we're talking about a similar thing, though, is that you have to embody and carry them out. And it kind of harkens back to that for me, that she's kind of saying without us embodying that and carrying it, there isn't that presence. This album so far, to me, kind of speaks back to All My Demons Greeting Me as a Friend. That album, I think, as far as putting it on and listening, it is very soothing and slower. There's definitely some upbeat stuff in there, but compared to some of the other albums, and I know we're only 7 songs in, it's a fairly long album, there are still a lot of those kind of introspective, slower, sometimes heavier ideas within it, and it kind of reminds me of that album in this way. It reminds me of that album in that way. Okay, so we don't have any words from Aurora herself on this one. There is another comment in French. Let's see. Earthly Delights was described as a day built and landscaped through gates, gardens, and a garden. Like Inya's style, she made a pulsating batida, and Aurora bastante praised by her radiant voice. Okay. Maybe it's not French. I mean, I would assume it has to be French. It wouldn't draw that much meaning. I don't know. Let me know. I could be wrong. Yeah, share with me your thoughts on that track as well, but that's kind of what I lean toward, is this idea that we will pass on, but will there be someone here to continue caring for the earth, versus it kind of the earth continuing to just go through these cycles of being treated poorly. Okay. Track 8, When the Dark Dresses Lightly. We're in the woods around a fire.
Drink me up. There is wine in every wood.
The ancient storyteller.
My dear, we're being strong now. And the dark dresses lightly, razor sharp as it cuts right through my soul. Here's to us now, my dear, it took too long. Guess I shouldn't have kept the knife in my heart for so long. Guess I shouldn't have held back when I needed you to know. Guess I shouldn't have kept the knife in my heart for so long. Guess I shouldn't have held back when I needed you to know. Oh, I just want to cry. Oh, you and I. Oh, it's perfectly fine to breathe in her that's gonna die. Let us dance to our sorrow, make amends. There's so much you still don't know. Here's to us now, my dear, we're going deep now. All this fear, it's contagious. Now we're here, let our glasses overflow. Here's to us now, my dear, it took two. Guess I shouldn't have kept the knife in my heart for so long. Guess I shouldn't have held back when I needed you to know. Guess I shouldn't have kept the knife in my heart for so long. Guess I shouldn't have held back when I needed you to know. Oh, I just want to cry. Oh, you and I. Oh, it's perfectly fine to breathe in her that's gonna die. Can you feel it? Yeah. Yeah. Let me feel it. Louder, 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 louder. Let me feel it, darling, darling, darling. Let me feel it, darling, darling, darling. Let me feel it, darling. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah.
Intense. Okay. Again, a lot of themes in here. It's great. It's not that they're coming in like sequential order, but still like kind of building and connecting on ideas that have already been established in the album. This does feel like kind of suppressing feelings until it overflows. The idea, though, of the dark dresses lightly. As I pour out my story, drink me up. There's wine in every word. So kind of like beginning to share. Here's to us now, my dear. We're being strong now. So finally confronting the thing that we need to talk about or deal with. The knife that she's felt has been in her heart. The things that she's held back. We're being strong in the dark dresses lightly, razor sharp as it cuts right through my soul. Here's to us now, my dear, it took too long. I mean, I feel like I know what this is saying, but it's hard for me to put into words. I mean, obviously this line, razor sharp as it cuts through my soul, is a bit easier, but the dark dressing lightly. I mean, to me, it can only maybe speak to okay, it could be bringing that which was in the dark into the light. Not necessarily that it dresses lightly, like it's not heavy, but that the things that have been secret are now being brought into the light. These dark things are now being dressed in light as they're addressed. Let me know if you have a different thought, but that's kind of feels good to me. Let's see here. Okay, there's a performance of this, so that'll be fun to watch. But it says, in her words, The Dark Dresses Lightly is a song about addressing the elephant in the room or about actually facing the real problem. About breaking a conflict down to one simple thing and then trying to understand each other rather than to hurt each other. She emphasizes that this is a very important song for me. On another occasion, on the Eras podcast, she describes The Dark Dresses Lightly as a personification of pain. I was thinking about having a discussion with pain, saying, let's sit down. I'm going to pour me and you a glass of wine, and now we drink the wine together. And I say something, then you say something. She uses contrast between the direct image of drinking wine together and pain with the image of people drinking wine alone to drown out their feelings. Interesting. She often mentions things in songs that I don't necessarily pick up on. You know, they're just really layered in there. And I think there are things that she feels that she doesn't necessarily put lyrically. You know, they're just things that are in her to kind of convey without having to say everything completely, if that makes sense. We drink more, the words are bigger, the wine is flowing over, and suddenly the wine takes us around the room. I'm also thinking about all those people that often just sit alone and drink wine to deal with their emotions. Overall, the lyric highlights the importance of openly discussing conflicts, disagreements, rather than fighting and causing more hurt over them. Even though it may be painful to talk about these problems, there is more pain in continuing conflict without communication. Discussing the issues we face is a step toward understanding each other and bringing closure to conflict. Lyrics are versatile, could apply to disputes of all scales. Yeah, so similar to the ideas we've already talked about in other songs. I was very much getting, I don't know the name of the song, but in The Lion King with Scar, his song, Home. I was getting those vibes in some of those little ad libs in there. Okay. This is track number 9, A Soul with No King. Interesting. Oh, folky? Dude, that beat goes hard.
I know you know me, and you always will.
Is that a banjo?
Like a man with no wisdom and a soul with no king. A soul with no king. I know you feel me, your heart unfulfilled. Like
raising tension.
You speak of the devil like he's not your friend. When the world starts to burn, give your water to
The fiddle? You got electric guitar in there? I feel like we're about to go in. I think musically, that song is a triumph. Man, so many interesting instruments, great like dynamics on when to build. I can't lie, I was really hoping after that kind of like slow down and then we were adding and adding, we were going to come back in with everything together because the beat was just so good. Didn't get that. That's okay. But man, musically, that's so strong. Cool. There's a live performance of that. That'll be fun to watch. All right, let's see here. I feel like our souls are lost, and I feel like our souls don't know what to do. We haven't given them any value, and we haven't given them any home. And I feel like we really need to prove to our soul that we are its ruler. We'd hear it and we will guide it by being just decent, empathetic, good human beings. And I think about what's happening in Palestine a lot when I sing this song because I don't understand how in modern times like this, we can disagree on whether something so heartbreaking is wrong or not. I don't understand. So is she speaking, I guess, about kind of that inner sense of right and wrong and just ignoring it? Wow. Yeah, I think musically that song and then what was it? Some Type of Skin. Those are two standouts for me on this album so far. Let me know your thoughts. Okay. Track number 10, titled Dreams. Wonder if these are any of the choirs she's worked with in the past.
I've needed so much with nothing to touch, floating from earth. Another bridge burned, a mother concerned. Come back to the world.
Wow.
In my dreams, everything's more quiet than here. In my dreams, everything I feel disappears. The night became new, and out of it grew a hymn of the pearl. Don't lie to yourself, don't lie to the world, don't lie to a girl. When your shadows were forgiven, I abandoned your religion, and I knew that I would never come back. So tired and so aimless, I traveled through the darkness, so my path would be impossible to track. In my dreams, everything's more quiet than here. In my dreams, everything I feel Learn my body and my poems and repeat them like you own them, like the arrow and the willow we all bend. Let the mothers and the daughters climb out of the waters like the needle and the cockroach we mend. In my dreams, everything's more quiet than here.
You can really tell in this album that she, and in this from some of the things we've read from her mouth herself, you know, I'm not projecting this on her, seems to be writing really from a place of a lot of pain, you know. Rightfully so, with the things that she's mentioned, you know, things that were going on, things she feels very strongly about. And it seems to be talking about dreams, obviously in her dreams, whether they're just dreams of escape, but which I guess they're all ultimately kind of dreams of escape. But I mean, just kind of like dreaming period about maybe things that don't matter, but also maybe her dreaming of what could be, what should be. Because I very much think Aurora obviously envisions what an ideal world would look like. And that's what she's singing about and what she's working for and fighting for. But it does seem like this kind of escapism, but also, you know, a place of healing that sometimes you do. You got to get into your dreams to reignite a flame for what could be. Again, what could be, what should be, because it's in that place that we can see beyond the reality of what we're looking at. And that's the place that can breed hope, right? And hope is required to have the energy to engage in whatever work, and take that in, again, big geopolitical things, or just in your own life, your own things that are going on. That ability to hope is important. And then it kind of has this feeling of like kind of coming back to the world. And then her lyrics around the cockroach and the needle, you know, the needle that mends. Let's see here. Dreams was inspired by the history of a child that wanted to disappear from the world, and it was also inspired by the track of the world. Really beautiful. There's a studio or a live performance of this as well, so we'll have plenty of great stuff to get to. Man. Okay. Track number 11, excuse me. Make sure I don't skip this one. This is My Name featuring Brun. Brun. Here we go. Okay. Little dance track, Aurora.
My name was hidden somewhere in the back of my brain. I didn't know before my head was strained, and all I could hear was that name. I had before I was reversed. Long before I was a part of Earth, I was a part of your world.
That's cool. Earth and World.
Part of your world. I was a part of your world. I was a part of your teach a dying cell. You eventually will be eaten by yourself. Nobody asks for the help. Far away, somebody was given just another year, another departure in our atmosphere. Will you forget I was here? Will you forget I was here?
Haunting and beautiful. Always good to see Magnus's name in the credits. Okay, we're going to have to lean on hopefully Ingenious getting a little more understanding around the song. It immediately brings to mind, and let me look this up so I don't butcher it, the like, what's in a name but a name in itself? Is that how it goes? What's in a name? That which we call a rose by any other name would smell as sweet. Argue that someone or something's true nature is not defined by their name, title, or label. That's kind of what it made me think of. Yes, your name, but also the substance that comes with that name. Because she definitely references like death and passing and the idea of like, will you forget that I'm here? Questions the listener about the cultural belief that one's name being forgotten after death signifies true oblivion. This song features the pipa, a traditional Chinese instrument, maybe symbolizing Chinese perspectives on memory and the importance they assign to names. Both Aurora and Anne have publicly addressed the humanitarian situation in Gaza, expressing their concern for mass civilian deaths. My name prompts listeners to reflect on how these civilians' names are forgotten, described as those who are given just another year, another departure in their atmosphere, as the lyrics state. Yeah, and I mean, I think in a broader sense, and obviously there are visualizers with all of this, in a broader idea, I think is that idea, let me say idea one more time, is that thought of the substance of a person. And it could be even used in the idea of like only associating a person by name, somewhat removing the humanity from that person, the soul that exists there, treating life as frivolous. I don't know. Let me know if you have any other thoughts on that. But it was very like, you have to forgive my 90s stank face. It's the only expression I have when something just goes hard. We all get it. It's universal language. Okay. Track 12, Do You Feel?
Never give up this feeling. Never give up on love. You can get
This very much has like a club track feel to it as well.
never give up on love.
In our bodies and in our bones, we both sing in deeper tones. In the fire, we both run to hide. And you let the sun call my name, and we dance in her flames. So warm, I feel love, love, love. Do you feel love? You got me.
A lot of hip movement going on you can't see. You can imagine.
Feel like I
Never give up this feeling.
boy. I think that one's pretty straightforward, right? I love that idea too. It's like you can give up on me, but don't give up on love. You know, like even if we didn't work out, don't give up on love, or realizing that love is a battle worth fighting in whatever context even you want to put that. That love is a thing that should endure. That was fun. Great track. Takes me back to like skate night in middle school because we listened to all the like old techno type tracks. Okay. Moving into probably a much lighter, more fun title. Just kidding. Called Starvation. This is track number 13. Little drum line.
I miss the touch of human hands on my skin.
Okay, like starving for love.
Rush of beauty coming from within. Do I need to be torn just to see who will care? I sleep on the floor, dreaming my life away. Why do we have to die for us to see the light? And we hunger for love. Why do we touch the night when we long to feel alive? And we hunger for love. And my soul is starving. Come on over, take a bite of the last apple here on earth. Will the virtual mind become stronger than mine? And when my ego dies, will I stay here forever? When the wave crashes down, will my life be better? Why do we have to die for us to see the light? And we hunger for love. And my soul is starving. Why do we touch the night when we long to feel alive? And we hunger for love. And my soul is starving. Make me, break me, chasing the enemy. Gotta deal with the devil, but I got the stamina higher than anything I've ever seen or been. Right now, everything's empty. Starving, craving, chasing the remedy. I got used to the torture, but no one is said to be loved. May it break me, chasing the enemy, and my soul is hurting. I got the stamina. Why do we have to die for us to see the light? With decorated bones, my soul is
We went full house mix there. Oh man. About as close as I think we're probably going to get to Aurora rapping. Very cool. I love how they just totally leaned into the most like house club, techno, EDM that you can imagine. And it hits hard for a reason. It's just good. interesting, man, with the song, this idea of needing to be torn to see who will care. That like, does somebody really need to hurt for, well, and I think there's also this calling out for care, for love. It's almost like when people make the posts on social media to see like who's actually going to comment and who's going to care, which I think can sometimes be a little childish. But I think it does speak to the idea that's even being conveyed in the songs. Like, obviously, though, there's something inside of them that's like they don't feel a connection or need affirmation that maybe they're not getting somewhere. So it kind of reaffirms this idea that like there's something in us, you know, that desires that. But it seemed like maybe there was also a reference to self-harm in there, the idea of a knife to feel alive. Don't know, but that's kind of what it felt like it was speaking to for a moment. When she mentioned the web crashing down, because she did also talk about kind of a, I don't think she said digital self. I don't necessarily want to try to scroll through and find all the lyrics, but you guys know what I'm talking about. She mentioned something along the lines of the virtual mind becomes stronger than mine. And then she talked about when the web crashes down, will my life be better? I wonder if she is literally speaking to the kind of death of the fall of digital, you know, like reattaching to what matters most. The decorated bones without a soul, right? Is that we are decorated bones and my soul is starving? So I think so much of the song obviously is just speaking to the superficial and trying to remind about the deeper things that matter and how we starve for it or are hungry for it. Yeah, so here's what she said. Our souls are starving because AI is taking over. Art is being replaced by computers. Aurora said she was inspired by Germany's techno scene. Yeah, okay, totally. In the 90s, Berlin was known for its underground rave culture. Aurora also stated, I'm a very big fan of The Prodigy and Underworld and Chemical Brothers. I think that kind of music is very cool. The song addresses the disconnection modern life imposes on humans. The techno inspiration in the song contrasts with its themes. While rave music is typically associated with sweaty, closed, and overcrowded places, the song is about a person starving for connection. Well, and that does kind of also reinforce the idea you can feel lonely in a crowded room, right? Just proximity doesn't mean presence or closeness, connection. Okay. Track number 14, titled The Blade. Falsetto.
Trust me and keep my bloodstained hands off your body. Innocent like a child, yet she sleeps with a knife right under her pillow, and the claws won't be near anymore. Paralyzed in denial, ever changing. Will she be the same? See her shame on the wall, on the cross in the night. Nobody remembers when she cries, scarlet skies on the floor. A million doors, corridors that are changing. I still feel the rage. Watch out! she knows when the world drags her so deep into the shadow, like a chain that chokes my throat when she cries. I hold her near, hurting world overwhelming. I still feel her pain. Watch out, watch what you say. Your truth becomes your grave. And so can come both ways, but I got sharp blades. Feel the
Okay. Wow. All right. I feel like there's a number of things this could be speaking to. At first, my mind goes toward abuse, but I don't know if she's speaking to one type of incident, like sexual abuse within this. It does feel like she's definitely speaking about children, about innocence, soft hearts. Now, she could be speaking about somebody that is kind of innocent, even though they're older. But I don't know. I get the feeling within this song she's really speaking about children, which I know she has a huge heart for, and actively works with. And it speaks to. It feels like it speaks to this kind of innocence taken, innocence wasted, and that a young mind, a young person having to deal with things or confront things or think about things that they shouldn't have to, that they should be protected from, whether children are just the vulnerable period. And then I love the idea of rage. Like, she delivered it so well, man, so passionately, so strongly. And it is that rage that is the good kind of rage. It's that righteous indignation that drives us to do something about, the things in the world that are not right. Let's see. A song with a lot of female anger. The fans need to let themselves explode a little to understand the work. In an interview, the interviewer asks, to gain more courage and find inspiration for this album, you threw yourself into chaos and some pretty unique methods, from ice swimming to rage rooms. To which Aurora responds, it was very cathartic. In rage rooms, you punch things, break things, and scream at things. You can do things the world doesn't really allow you to do. It's absolutely uplifting, fun. Blade was born out of that. Oh, I need more. Oh. Yeah, I don't know, you guys. Let me know. I mean, obviously, I shared kind of my first thoughts about what I feel like it's dealing with. So let me know if you have more insight on that. Either way, yeah, dude, she tapped into something and delivered that. And I think that we all need those things in the world. that we feel that righteous indignation toward. That anger is not an evil emotion. It can be pointed in evil directions, but anger ultimately is a useful emotion when we learn how to kind of lasso it in, right? And be angry about the right things. Okay. Excuse me. This is track number 15, titled My Body Is Not Mine.
I can remember the first time I felt my mind turning into a beast of an evil kind. If there's a demon in the line of my aim, I won't be calling its name. I would stare at the back of my hand for days, reading the wisdom written out for me in my veins. If there's a demon in the eye of my soul, I won't be letting you know. But the night kicks in when I know it's time. I build my walls so it's safe to hide. And the people I love I left behind, they see too much when I look in my eyes. Feel no pain and I never cry. I bleed no blood and I never die. My body's not mine, body's not mine, body's not mine. I need my body. And the past feels like another life and a story they somehow all survive. Repeats itself so many times, written cold in blood, heavy as the Bible. Feel no pain and I never cry. I bleed no blood and I never die. My body's not mine, the body's not mine, the body's not mine. I need my body.
What? Man, I know obviously in laying out this album, there's an intentional progression, and we get kind of like these, different feels in the front part of the album, but they have like loaded the back with bangers. I could make some guesses around what this song is about. But let's see what this says. Song explores themes of identity, isolation, and resilience. Aurora grapples with her own sense of self, feeling detached from their physical being and the people around them. The recurring plea for a ceasefire in the outro takes on significant weight. That's what, at least in these lyrics, it says, ceasefire. Takes on significant weight when viewed through the lens of the current situation in Palestine. The ongoing conflict has led to immense suffering, and the call for a ceasefire is a plea for immediate peace and a halt to violence. Interesting. Yeah, you guys are going to have to help me a little bit in the comments with kind of how the ideas attach. When you need my heart, you cry. You need my body, which is obviously repeated a lot. A lot of interesting lyrics in here. Yeah, if you have any thoughts on that song, feel free to share them. Okay. This track 16, titled Invisible Wounds. The latter half of this album does so many interesting things.
I squeeze into a small hole through the eyes of needles to stitch you up again. Even though I know so well I can't fix anything, I look for blood to shed, mistaking every vein for thread, spreading out too thin as I'm lying in my bed, barely existing. And I need you, and I need you to understand, to understand. Sometimes I see light, and I fear it's only fantasy. Oh, wouldn't it be tragic if there is no light in me, not any magic? And I need you to forgive me if you can, if you can. I know the best I can isn't always good enough. It hurts to know I hurt you, like I know it hurts.
I like how they brought the vocals like in.
And now my blood is yours, and life is slowly losing touch. How do we learn to tend to these invisible wounds our homes gave us? I can't heal you, and you can't heal me, even if we wanted to. And how I want,
This feels real, like deeply personal.
and I need you We
Wow.
both need to tend to the invisible wounds.
I'm curious if that was the close to the original album. Yeah, there's 3 additional tracks on the deluxe. Track 18 would have been the close to the original album, which really makes sense because usually, I'm sorry, I'm on track 16. So yes, I think 17, 18, 19 would be the 3 additional tracks, and then you have 20 and 21, which are remixes. Which makes sense because Aurora tends to, on her albums, leave space at the end to really sit with everything that she just went through. And so even the sound of it, the message of it really wraps up a lot of the ideas in this album. And ultimately the recognition that like we're trying to fix each other and we really have to give some attention to these internal things that are going on, these invisible wounds that we all carry to some extent. I mean, the thing I think I can hope to do for my children, you know, and I've shared before, my wife and I, like, we don't come from necessarily terrible homes. Our homes had their own things and things that we had to unlearn. And by God's grace have been able to, you know, and really like lead our home in a different direction. So, but I think the thing that we can only hope to do is create a very strong inner life for our children. But, you know, every single human has their own struggles and their own things to overcome, their own insecurities. And that we all have these invisible wounds that we have to give attention to and that we have to deal with so that we can hopefully be as healthy of an individual as possible. And especially if you're talking about in a relationship and in a long-term relationship or a marriage, it's continual work, you know? But as you each seek to grow and tend to those invisible wounds, and as you're growing individually, then I think you have that ability to come together and grow together. And there are those things that you work through with each other and that you heal with one another. And anyways, I think as a close to this album, the traditional close, it makes a lot of sense and it fits really, really well. So we do have 3 additional tracks and then 2 remixes. So we'll keep moving through those. But if I had this album, which I'm curious, my version, I don't think this is the deluxe. Sorry. Yeah, okay. Oh, this is the deluxe. Or no, it's not. No, it's not. So yeah, it would have closed with Invisible Wounds. Beautiful wrap to this album as it was. Would have been totally pleased with that. But let's go ahead and press in to the additional tracks that we have. This is track number 17 called The Flood. Oh, here, let me do this. Ta-da! Okay, we almost made it through this thing without any errors. User error. All right, here we go. This is cool. Love the tapping.
Who have I been? Who have I been? Who have I been fighting all this time? All this time. Maybe I've spent too
It's a nighttime drive song.
myself, 'cause everything became enormous in my head. Maybe there was never a demon. Maybe it was just me dreaming, and now I can't escape this feeling. After all this time, I can't leave it to rest. Leave it to rest. It's like nobody cares. Nobody cares. 'Cause I feel like I'm floating, floating over everything, and everyone knows how this story goes. And I've been under pressure all my life, and I feel like I'm losing all my voice. I've been under pressure all my life, but have I been fighting all this time?
She's speaking about herself.
Here for so many years, waiting for the morning sunbeams to finally warm me, but it's happening so slow. It's impossible to notice how everything around me is changing. After all this time, I can't leave it to rest. Leave it to rest. It's like nobody cares. Nobody cares. 'Cause I feel like I'm floating, floating over everything, and everyone knows how this story goes. And I've been under pressure all my life, and I feel like I'm losing all my voice. I've been under pressure all my life, but have I been fighting all this time? Fighting all this time.
Perfect placement for the electric guitar. Really resonate with that line, waiting for the sunbeams. But it's happening so slowly. It's not exactly how it said it, but it was along those lines. Because it does, like, progress feels like that sometimes, right? It feels so slow. Let's take a look real quick. All right, the flood. Let's see if there's any information here. The Flood released the single for the deluxe edition. The song explores feelings of anger, anxiety, sadness. It's about seeking someone to blame for those feelings, even though the issue lies in oneself. Aurora wrote on a Threads post, "This is a song about the invisible enemy. What brings you anger? What brings you worry and sadness? What makes you crawl into yourself instead of meeting the world fully?" Yeah, and I mean, the reality is, right? Like, of course there are exterior fights, exterior battles, but the main battle is always going to be inside of ourselves. And it's the true thing, right? That we're our own worst enemy. Like, we tend to sabotage ourselves. But it's a fight I don't mind engaging in, you know? It's worth the work. It's worth the time. It's worth the effort. That change can come so slowly sometimes. But it's worth it, you know, ultimately for your joy. And then whatever, you know, your hands are put to do on this earth, you got to keep engaging in that fight. I think that's the worst thing, is if we begin to put all of our attention on exterior things. Because then you almost become that person that thinks everything that's happening is somebody else's fault. And 100% there are things in life that are somebody else's fault. But if we're always thinking that way, then we're always assuming it's all out here. And a lot of times, right, it's like when you're pointing at somebody, right, the other fingers, you got 3 pointing back at you. Oh, man. Okay. This is track number 18 as we continue in the deluxe edition, Heart's Intuition.
Will you pull your love back before you let it live?
I love when she's in this lower
Will
register.
you show my heart where the hurt is and how to forgive? We blew out our fire, but we left a spark. But darling, I don't need much light to see you in the dark. Somewhere within it first begins with your heart, then to your mind. Don't be scared of your heart's intuition. You're not born just to die. You're not born just to die. You're not born just to die. You were always frightened, and it left a mark. And I hope you never regret that you let me touch your heart. And I hope you see it, the love I tried to sell. Even though what hurt you the most was human like yourself. And within my blood, gotta feel it. Even in my bones, and it blows my mind. Don't be scared of your heart's intuition. You're not born just to die. scared of your heart's intuition. You're not born just to die. Don't be scared of your heart's intuition. You're not born just to die. Don't be scared of your heart's intuition. You're not born just to die. Don't be scared of your heart's intuition. You're not born just to die.
Oh man. From time to time there are songs or there are moments that I just feel really compelled, even though the message was just delivered from Aurora and I in many ways am just a stranger on the internet. I think there are moments, that we come across people or voices or songs or whatever, to remind us, and my heart goes out to anyone that may be listening today and kind of feels that, you feel this loss of purpose or meaning, and maybe you just need a little reminder today that, as the song said, let me just reinforce, you're not born just to die. You have purpose, you have meaning. I think I wrote down here, you're born to live. You're not born just to die, you're born to live. And I just want to encourage you today in that, and whatever that means for you right now. I think as I get older, I don't know, when I was young, there's so much zeal when you're young, right? Usually a lot of zeal and a little bit of wisdom. And the goal in life, I think, too, is not that so when you're young, say you got a lot of zeal, little wisdom, of course you want to grow in wisdom over time. And it's not necessarily that your zeal needs to go down, but maybe it is, when they match and it levels out a little bit. And it can be different for everybody and everybody can feel differently about it. And I don't think it's about necessarily lowering our goals, but maybe it's more about perspective of what purpose really looks like and what purpose really means. Because I don't think I'm any less vibrant about life, any less ambitious, but it may just be a reordering of what that ambition is, and especially for this stage of my life. I turned 38 in a few months as of filming this, and I'm getting close to celebrating my 17-year wedding anniversary. My oldest son just got his learner's permit and started driving. And so at this stage in my life, I don't know, man. I have goals and I have desire. I mean, even starting this YouTube channel is a goal that I pursued. And I've watched YouTube for a long time. And I've had ideas and I've started businesses and I still run a business. I run a design business. So I build websites, graphic design, run social media. I have a wedding videography business. And so I think my zeal is still there, but I don't know. What's most important to me in life right now and my purpose is pretty darn wrapped up in my children, And then even thinking forward, Lord willing, that I have the opportunity to be a grandfather. And some of that's driven by my own family dynamics. The same way that my wife and I decided that we wanted to do something different in our marriage, in our family. I'm thinking a generation ahead to my grandchildren, that I want my children's children to get to experience what my children didn't really get to experience in their grandparents, much less me and my grandparents, even though I have some wonderful memories with my grandparents. Anyways, all that being said, I just want to encourage you to find joy, find beauty in the small things in life, the seemingly ordinary, and Aurora sings about that a lot, especially in previous albums. And just to remind you today, you do have purpose, you are seen, and And I hope that that can just give you that little extra strength that maybe you need today. Okay. Number 19. This is the final like track in the deluxe, and then we've got 2 remixes, so those will be fun to listen to. Track 19, The Weight of Missing. Oh, it's going to be about loss.
The world today has changed. You're no longer here, and I feel strange. Now every moment spent with you, and the love within my heart feels like a wound. And though it hurts, it feels good too. In the warmth of every memory I have of you, while I live on, and though love comes with pain, I never love in vain.
Wow, these lyrics are beautiful.
I hold on to all those days, the times I had you here in my embrace. The biggest gift I ever knew was to love you, knowing that you love me too. And now the big sleep keeps you safe,
The Big Sleep.
as she lets you close your eyes in her embrace. You can lie here forever in our hearts, as long as we're apart. I can't forgive our stolen time, that I can't just have you sit here by my side. And I know I'll miss you all my years, but the weight of missing you is worth each tear. shadows in the snow, in the candle that glows. I can feel you. I can feel you. You'll be with me until we meet again, our darling and my friend.
It's fun to see her with a solo writing credit on a song. Okay. Let's see, is there any information about who this song was written for? Song about grief, and it's dedicated to a beautiful angel, Albert. Thank you for letting my world into yours. The What Happened to the Heart story is not finished. I can't wait to share a deluxe version. Yeah, I mean, that song absolutely wrecked it. I started to go there because I began to kind of like latch the lyrics onto a memory of someone that's no longer with us. And that's where it started. I was like, all right, let's reel it back, man. Let's see. Who was The Weight of Missing written about? Aurora. What did it say? Albert? Let's see here. Probably seen Aurora's story, which she says song Weight of Missing is about someone who has died. As you probably know, could very well be about her possibly first boyfriend who died in a terrorist attack. You also know Aurora said she's very emotional and sensitive. She had to be shielded from certain news stories as a child because they affected her too deeply. B. Aurora suffered severe trauma. She mentioned the name Albert. People said her first love's name was not Albert. We just have to know Albert was a special soul. It's none of our business. Wow, so people are pretty heavy. I mean, they're just asking a question, right? Oh, I guess this, should she seek help? Yeah, that's a little much, but okay. I was just curious. I'm not trying to be nosy. Beautiful song. So that's a funeral song if you want to absolutely wreck the room, dude. All right, let's take a look at these last two, which are remixes. This is Dreams featuring Nicole Zignago. Okay, it's Spanish.
Everything I feel disappears. La noche cantó y de ella nació un himno de perlas. No mientas aquí, ni temas por mí. Soy mujer guerrera.
How's rolling R's?
Sombras perdonadas, religión sin palabras. Decidí jamás regresar. Tan cansada y sin rumbo, tomé un tren por la oscuridad y aquí no me encontrarás. In my dreams,
Oh, they're gonna interweave them?
todo está en silencio aquí. In my dreams, everything I feel disappears. Learn my body and my poems y que canten en tu nombre like the arrow and the willow we all bend. Que las madres con sus hijas nazcan libres en los mares like the needle and the cockroach we mend. In my dreams, everything's so quiet and here.
Beautiful. I wonder if is this the same girl that she sang with? There was a video I did on Patreon for, I think it was the last album, The Gods We Can Touch, where I was surprised because she had a Hispanic. No, this isn't the same person. Peruvian? Okay. Yeah, it's beautiful. I love how she gets people with different languages, different nationalities, because I've seen her do that several times. All right, this one is with ATARASHII GAKKO. ATARASHII GAKKO. Oh, is this a group? Cool. All right, well, this should be fun. Strangely enough, I actually on the channel went through a Japanese band, an all-female rock band called Bandmade. I have several of their CDs over a couple of months because I did a song every single day that was doing in that format. So I have like a ridiculous amount of videos for Bandmade because they release an album almost every year. Okay, Some Type of Skin featuring ATARASHII GAKKO. Oh, and I love this song. This would be awesome.
Hit me hard where I am soft. Should my heart reveal itself to be more than a muscle or a fist covered in blood? However much it feels to bleed, it's only temporary. We're good people and we both deserve peace. My God, it's a love. Some type of skin I've got to be. My God, it's a love. Some type of skin I've got to be. Some type of skin. 風に吹かれ届かない声
It's so unexpected.
戸惑い悩みまだ見つからない探し物閉じかけた窓をもう一度開けて見えない明日に手を伸ばす私たちは今日も歌っていく難しいとしても My God, it's a lot.
Are those supposed to be more like traditional drums? There you have it, folks. 3 hours of Aurora, 21 tracks. What Happened to the Heart Deluxe Edition. I always love when she does these collaborations. I think it's very cool. Man, a great album. It is a very deep album and very personal, very meaningful. You can obviously tell. I mean, obviously with all of Aurora's music, there's so much of her in it, but it's very much of her, and I assume just what she's been kind of processing and feeling. But brilliant piece of work, so interesting to listen to. And that brings us current with Aurora. Based on her track record, I would assume we're probably getting new music maybe this year. She's usually 2 years apart on projects. So we'll see. But ultimately, take whatever time you need to create it how you want to create it. But thanks for hanging out with me for this. Let me know your final thoughts, anything you want to share, and we'll have a conversation in the comments. Again, if you'd like to check out what's going on over at Patreon, not only do we have a lot of Aurora content, we have many other artists, and on Patreon, you get the ability to vote on the albums that we do each Wednesday. And so feel free to check that out, see if it's something you're interested in. Thanks for hanging out with me. I hope to see you in the next one. It's eating good.